This is the Undisputed Wrestling Show on AngryMarks.com. You can go there for all the great podcasts about mixed martial arts and professional wrestling. Love to hear what the glove up or shut up guys think about Ronda Rousey and her fight this weekend. So we'll have to listen to that. And we are going to be connecting to Bad Blood here in just one moment.
What's that?
Hello, do we have Bad Blood on?
Yeah, it's your boy Bad Blood. And that had to be Drew Skills talking about that Bad Blood song, huh?
You know it was, brother. You know that it was. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Besides the concussion and the busted eardrum I got, I'm all good.
Well, hey, let me give you a proper introduction. We have on the line the current reigning, defending NWA Pacific Northwest heavyweight champion for the past 312 days. It is the longest reign by anybody holding that title. And some of the great people that have held that title, Jesse Ventura, Roddy Piper, Playboy Buddy Rose, Rick Martel, Matt Bourne, Rocky Johnson, Kurt Hennig, Dynamite Kid, the list go on and on and on. We do have from NWA Blue Collar Wrestling, Bad Blood. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Very much for having me.
Right, Cue Ball, I'm going to kick it to you because I know once Drew gets on with Bad Blood, it's all over for us.
Yeah, you know that. Hey, Bad Blood, how are you, brother?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Listen, I ask everybody that comes on the show that pretty much the same question. I mean, sometimes I don't, but mostly I do. Here's what it's a two-part question. Number one, when did you, as a young person, see that definitive moment where you fell in love with pro wrestling and you decided you wanted to do it? And then when you actually went and did it, where did you go to train and who did you train with? Okay,
so to answer the first part of the question, it was the night Magnum TA Nikita Koloff for the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship. The night that Magnum broke his neck.
Yes.
Came to the ring wearing a neck brace. Nikita turned face. That night I knew I wanted to be a part of something like that. And I started training in 1990 with Mondo Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Sr., Bill Anderson. You know, Bill Anderson's been around for a long time. He's trained a lot of guys. Warrior, Sting.
Yep.
He's trained a lot of guys. Fortunately for me, I came along and started training with them in East LA at a place called Gill's Gym. Now, the best part about my training was it started at 9 o'clock in the morning, but at 8 o'clock in the morning, for a whole hour, we got to watch the Glow Girls train.
Wow.
That was the selling point.
Get a Ferrari. I appreciate your honesty.
Hey, I'm being real, man. That was the selling point right then and there. I fell in love with the business. I fell in love with the Glow Girls, you know.
That's awesome. Hey, when you were out in that area, did you ever stop over to Slammers Wrestling Gym ran by Vern Langdon?
Now, you know, I actually trained at Slammers for a while with guys like Chaos and White Trash, Johnny Webb.
Sure.
You know, beautiful Bruce Bodine, who goes on to become Ed Ferreira, you know, Oklahoma in the WWE. So yeah, I've been around, man.
Yeah, I know. When you said that, I'm like, I'm sure he went over to Vern's, and I think Bill trained there for a while for Vern, didn't he?
He surely did, out there in Sun Valley.
Yep, I made it out there right after he first opened. I went out there. I lived outside of DC and I flew out there and spent a couple days out there.
Had a little bitty shed on Traction Avenue.
He was an interesting character, wasn't he?
Yeah, I never met a man that wanted to wrestle with no shoes on all the time.
I know. Something's wrong with that picture, brother, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, yes, I do. I remember. So, you know, I got in 83 in Hawaii and, you know, the business was so protected back then and that's what's missing today. But, you know, tell us how, I mean, was it easy to get in? Was it difficult? Did you have to make more than one shot at getting in? Did they try to discourage you? Did they beat the tar out of you for the first 6 weeks?
You know, it's funny you say that too, because see, this is how it all started. I used to wrestle amateur and, I came home from school one day and I heard all this bumping around in the ring, I lived with my grandmother at the time. So I look over the wall and I see Mondo Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Sr., Chavo Jr., and Rey Mysterio Jr., and a whole bunch of other guys. So I go, hey, that's that fake shit. And I started laughing. So they said, fake shit? Why don't you come over here and show us your real shit? So after about 2 weeks of getting my ass kicked, they finally decided to show me the real stuff. And, since then, I've been involved in the business and being trained in different places. When I first got in, there were 30 guys with us. At the end, there were 7. Out of 7 people, I can tell you right now, 3 of us are still wrestling. So that tells you how guarded the business has been over the last 24 years. And when I train guys, I tell them the same thing. Do you want to be a wrestler or do you want to be an entertainer? And they ask me, what's the difference? I said, go watch NWA and then come over here and watch WWE. Tell me the difference. Well, there's more theatrics and there's more, pyros. And I said, so if you want to be an actor, you go work for Vince. If you want to be a wrestler, you go work for the NWA.
That's a perfect statement. You're exactly correct. And, I don't think a lot of young guys realize it, but, they do so much money. The WWE's money is not in putting wrestlers on TV anymore. It's selling merchandise and selling video games. And, that Monday Night Raw is nothing more than a 3-hour commercial for merchandise and video games. And that's almost exactly what you're seeing on the screen compared to what you and I came up on. I spent, a couple years in Hawaii at Peter Maivia School, and then, being the genius that I am, I decided 5 years later I'd go spend 10 months with Luke Thez. And that was pure torture. But, those guys, they put you through the ringer like they did you, because guess what? Back in the day, if you had quit after a week, you would have went out and told everybody what? That stuff's real, man. They beat me to death for a week. And that was their mentality, that if you didn't make it through training, you would go out and tell everybody that this wasn't a work, it was the real deal. So they really, they pushed us hard in the beginning, didn't they?
And I still push the guys hard now. I just recently came back from a trip to Texas where I wrestled a young guy, Danny Ramon. He's an exceptionally awesome athlete. I'm not going to lie. Hit me pretty fucking hard, man. Excuse me. I don't know if I can say that online, but hit me pretty hard. Busted my eardrum, gave me a concussion. And, people are like, wow, all of that from a wrestling show? And I'm like, yeah, like you have no idea. Oh man, I thought it was fake. Like, yeah, you see this scar on my forehead? That's not fake. You see this right here? That's not fake. This busted patella tendon I got with the pin in the knee? That's not fake. Well, how do you survive all of that?
I wish I could have paid my medical bills with fake money.
Right?
All right.
If that was the case, I'd be rich with all the fake stuff that I do.
It's so true. It's like they say it's fake. I'm like, well, they don't pay me monopoly money, so really it's not. But that's the thing that always, I think angers us right away. If people would understand that it's, we get hurt out there. All of us have had serious injuries, broken bones. Some of us major injuries, and we have no season. We go 365 days a year whenever we're booked. We're not like other athletes get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months off in the off season to recover. And we do this for years and years and years. And if you want to say something, be smart enough to say, I figure it's predetermined. But this business, I tell everybody, I know you do too, Drew and Bad Blood, that this is business is as real and as physical as it will ever get.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth, man. I watched Drew and Drew and Rob Conway at NWA Circle City. And I'll tell you, man, like they beat the dog shit out of each other. And for someone to say that match was fake, I'd slap them in the mouth. like I would really just slap them in the mouth. Like I've watched matches. I just went through a 4-on-4 War Games match at BCW not too long ago, and every man in that ring bled the hard way. Oh
wow!
At the end of the night, we do a TV taping every week. That following week, everyone was so hurt from the past week. Our matches were really short.
Yeah, it's those are the times where you wish you had a week or two to recuperate without doing anything. Right. But the older I try to tell the kids, the older we get, they don't understand. We're out there, and I know you're going through it now. I'm going out there wrestling kids that are 25, 30 years younger than me. you know,
God, yes.
and you know, they want to do everything under the sun, and you got, you know, I like to run them duck about 4 elbows and 4 clotheslines and give them a high stiff knee to slow them down from the beginning, you know, but,
You know,
yeah, it can get tough out there. I mean, I don't think people realize it, and we've all had those matches where we've been busted open the hard way, and you know what? It's great for the business, but it's no fun for you.
you know, it's funny you say that. One of my icons, the guys that I admired growing up, was Beautiful Bobby Eaton of the Midnight Express.
Absolutely.
And I got to meet him. And this is like, I'm going to say it right now, the most humbling experience of my whole 24 years of wrestling is when he walked up to me and said, "Hey man, can I take a picture with you?"
Wow.
Totally blew my mind. He, was doing a seminar at the NWA Top of Texas out in Amarillo. And, I did a match where I defended the belt against a guy, Nolan Phillips. No lie, 2 minutes into the match, I dive out of the ring and I hit the guardrail and broke my foot. Boom.
Oh.
The top of my foot. I still went 15 more minutes and finished the match. Got back in the locker room. They were going to cut my boot off my foot. I'm like, no, I'll get this off. These things are expensive. So when I finally got the boot off, Bobby walks up to me with a bag of ice and he bends down and goes, "Didn't I tell you not to kill yourself?" And I'm like, yeah, you did, sir. And he was like, "I'm proud of you, kid." Pats me on the shoulder and gives me the bag of ice. Checked on me the whole night. You know,
awesome. That's awesome.
I totally marked out like, oh my God, like this is Bobby Eaton. You know, and
absolutely.
I bring that story up because these young guys in the business now, they don't have that mentality. They don't have that, respect for the business because nowadays anybody can go buy a ring. You can go in high spots and buy you some tights and you can get your buddies and, you know, your mom, maybe she has a warehouse or something, you know, or you can find your buddy's backyard and, you know, get 30 or 40 people to sit down and watch you wrestle. And, oh, now you're a promoter and you have a show. And now because you wrestled, you were trained for 2 weeks at a school and then they kicked you out because you sucked. Now you're training all of these guys. And now you're like champion. Your dad's the commissioner. You know, your girlfriend's the women's champion and she's like the top valet. I'm pretty sure you guys have all been around stuff like that.
You know what? You're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. It's funny how it works, but you know, all these guys I was telling they're beer bellied and spaghetti armed and they're walking around with a heavyweight championship for their promotion. What a way to disintegrate your promotion before your very eyes. And I always say that these guys that go out and do this stuff, they're like cockroaches. It started with 2 of them, but now it seems like they're everywhere.
Yeah. And the sad part about it is they think because they did all these things, they got their own ring and, you know, they got like the 20 or 30 people that come watch their shows. Now they're a big time promoter. Then, you know, they run a show and invite all their friends from Facebook and all their family and, you know, and now they've drawn 20 or 30 people every month, once a month, and that makes them a professional wrestler. And they've been wrestling for 3 to 5 months, and now they're a seasoned vet.
You're so right.
Now they're the ring general. We're working a match with a guy who's had 2 days of training. You know, I just, you know, I'm glad that when we brought the NWA back here to Oregon, the guys that wrestle with us, these guys bust their butt week after week, night after night. They train, they promote like hell. You know, some of these guys get so beat up and then they go to their day job and they're sore and they're hurt, but they're right back next Sunday. They're out there flying. It's pouring rain today. We have a TV taping on Sunday. They're out passing out flyers right now in the pouring rain.
Wow, that's beautiful, brother. But you know, that starts at the top. That starts with somebody like you leading at the top. And there are, you know, Tracy Smothers and I did the seminar Saturday here. And, you know, we had 22 kids there and they were, you know, every one of those kids was respectable. They were polite. They listened. They didn't offer anything up. They didn't make any excuses. So, you know, there's good guys out there, but then I get all these guys' information because I didn't know who everybody was, even though I knew who I was. And I look them up on Facebook and every one of these guys has been trained by a Damian Wayne or been trained by, CWF Mid-Atlantic, which is big here. That's put a lot of people out there, or they were trained at some legitimate professional wrestling school by a legitimate professional wrestler. and it showed because it's the first time I've been to a seminar, that I haven't done, that it's because I'm real careful who I accept, that there was, a good group of people. But, each one of those guys, if you trace it back to their promotions, Bad Blood, it's just like you. There's somebody at the top that sets the example for them. And, when these other promotions, like we talked about, guy wrestles 2 weeks in training, he goes out and starts a promotion. They don't have that. They don't have that leader at the top, that guy that knows the business inside and out, that's been there, done that. And that's a lot of what's missing because, you have a good group of people. I'm fortunate to have a good group of people here. Drew has some good people. But, we have good people because we're good people and we pass that on to people. And I think that's so important. And I always tell every young wrestler, go find a veteran, make him your mentor, offer to drive him to shows, get him coffee, whatever you think you should do, carry his bags for him, do all the right things. And you might be blessed that one of these days on a road trip in a car that he starts talking and that becomes your classroom, or he gets in a ring with you and that becomes class in session. So, I give you credit, man, because you got guys out there doing what they're doing because of you and the other guys at the top that are the veteran leaders. Well,
I look at it like this. Somebody took the time to sit down with me and say, hey, this is what you need to do. Even now, I'm going to put them on blast because, I'm just going to do it because I feel that it's right. James Beard, Jax Dane, Rob Conway, Bruce Stark. Those guys, along with Robert Langdon, they're all NWA. Those guys took the time to sit down with me week after week and say, hey, this is what your match looked like. Awesome. This is what you need to work on. Okay. This is what this happened. This is what you need to work on. And I've been in this business almost a friggin' quarter of a century, and I still learn every time I'm out there. Every time I get in the ring, I learn something. And I just totally shocked my locker room one night. A guy, his name is Tyler, but he wrestles as Tyson Dean.
I know Tyson.
Young kid. He's been in business, a little bit. And, I walked out to the ring, grabbed the mic, and instead of me going in all heel mode like I usually do, first thing I said was, I'm not going to come out here and talk shit like I normally do. What I'm going to do is offer someone in the back an opportunity like I was offered. I'm offering someone a chance to come out here right now, face me one-on-one, no outside interference, no members of the faction, none of this shit. One-on-one, so you can learn a lesson tonight. And he came out. He was the only one that accepted the challenge to come out. And we had a great match. And when it was over, I looked at him, I said, thank you very much, dropped the mic, walked away. And people were, wow, why did you do that? Why did I do that? Because someone once did that to me. Someone gave me the opportunity, someone put me over, someone made me want it more. Because, someone beat my ass, they beat me down, and they asked me, do you want to be a wrestler or do you want to be a guy on a friggin' candy bar or a guy on an ice cream bar? Do you want to be a guy on a Saturday morning cartoon, or do you want to be a guy that wrestles at WrestleMania or a guy who wrestles at Starrcade? Do you want to be a wrestler? And I asked him, what's the difference? And they said, by the time we're done, either you're going to want to be one of those guys or you're going to want to be one of us. And fortunately, I learned I wanted to be one of those guys.
Well, that's exactly true. Tyson Dean's in phenomenal shape, isn't he?
I know, right?
guy looks like $1 million. I'm like, I wish I could have that much dedication. But he looks, but he's smart. He's young, and he realizes that in this era that we're in now, Bad Blood, that all the guys at the top, maybe Kevin Steen's an exception, but 99% of the guys at the top are in the best shape of any wrestlers of any decade or era out there. They're not just all big and gassed up guys. They're in tremendous shape. And, a guy like him is smart enough to get it. Yeah, you have these other guys that get in the business that have delusions they're going to go to WWE or Japan or wherever, and they've never seen a gym in their life. So, thank God for guys like Tyson Dean out there, young guys that understand the business, and he got to work with you. So
you say that, well, these guys, they have these aspirations of going to Japan and things like that. I had aspirations of going to Japan too, and I got accepted at the New Japan Dojo. And I'll tell you this. That by far was worse than any kind of training you could ever have anywhere. Okay. I don't know if you guys know who Eric Watts is. He wrestles here in California. He wrestles in California.
Yeah,
he was really tough enough. Okay, so I brought Eric Watts into the business a while back. Eric Watts is a fucking phenomenal athlete. But we all trained at the New Japan Dojo, and that 3-minute drill, running the ropes, we did that every morning. And people were like, oh man, I can do that stuff. This stuff is easy. This stuff is easy. When I train people, my goal is to make you throw up. My goal is to make you throw up or quit. And that's how I'm going to determine who really wants it. Well, he was one of those guys that we made him throw up week after week after week, and he kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back. I got a tag team that travels with me all around. I think Drew Skill, I think you may have seen them at the NWA Circle City, the tag team High Def. They travel. Yeah, they travel everywhere with me. And Dominic LaRich owns Alpha Omega Wrestling. He's a promoter, but he continues to travel and learn from people. He goes to UFC, he trains at a UFC gym 7 days a week. He trains with Brian Kendrick. He trains with, he goes to like every seminar he can get his hands on. He learns from all of these guys, the Young Bucks. He learns from all of these guys so he can perfect his craft and make himself a better worker. And I admire him because, he does so much in one day. And it's like, wow, this guy wants to learn. He wants to better himself, and he travels around this country and he wrestles, for every promotion he gets his hands on, just so he can finally get to where he wants to go. And guys like that are guys that I want to push. Guys like that are guys that I want to take with me and get them spots and get them put in positions where they're going to better themselves, because at the end of the day, I'm the veteran. It's my job to look out for the young people in this business, just like a veteran looked out for me. Guys like C.W. Bergstrom here in the Pacific Northwest, a legend, a man I look up to, always looks out for me. Tex Thompson always looks out for me. Even guys like Lone Star, who's been in this business a long time, he's the NWA Pacific Northwest television champion, looks out for me. And it's our job as vets to look out for these younger guys. Just like Drew looks out for those guys at Circle City, just like you look out for the guys that you train with, real vets look out for real people.
True story. Hey, let me ask you a question. Did you know my friend Richie Magnette?
Yeah, I know Richie. I knew Richie.
Right. Yeah, he trained at the opposite camp of me in Hawaii. He was at Lars Anderson's and I was at Maivia's.
Ah. Yeah, I saw him a week before he died. He had come to BCW. He just surprised us one night. He came with what's that guy's name from? God, I can't think of his name right. Buddy Wayne. He came with Buddy Wayne.
Right.
Buddy Wayne brought up a couple of his students down from Washington. They did a show with us. And he was like, man, I haven't seen you in like 10 years. I said, well, we need to get together. He's like, man, I'll come down next week. And then he passed away that following, like 2 days later.
Yeah, so one thing you're guaranteed when you hang around this business, you're going to lose a lot of brothers. You're one of the guys that survives. I mean, we just had this weekend the Buddy Landau Memorial Cup, which I hosted here in North Carolina. And Buddy's mom came in from Knoxville and his niece from Florida. And, he was probably my best friend in the wrestling business for the last 20 years. And you just, and he was the first one to say, Q, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring or if he's even going to be here for you. And that's the gospel right there. You just don't know. And I made a post the other day on Facebook, and Drew, you might have seen her, Zane. It was said, don't make the next time the last time, or don't make the last time the next time. And talked about, how guys are. They're like, oh, stay, let's go out and have a drink or get something to eat. And you're tired. You've been on the road 2 or 3, 4 days and you just want to go home. And you're like, we'll do it next time. And then, sometimes that next time never gets here, especially in this business. Yeah,
you might regret that. I know that, I lost a friend of mine, DJ Riz, a couple of years ago. He, was one of the trio group called the Suburban Commandos out in California. And, the other commandos had moved to Florida and he was all by himself. And I was doing a TV tape and he gave me a call. It's like, hey man, when are you gonna get me up there in Oregon? I said, bro, I'm at a show right now. I'll hit you back up tomorrow. I promise. It's like, all right, man, no worries. And I hung the phone up with him. That day he was driving on the freeway, dropped a cigarette, went down to get it, head on into another car and died.
Oh man.
So I did the best that I can do. I drew all of our friends together, guys that are in Florida, California, Georgia. One guy came from England. We had a big show in his honor, just cause that's how that's how I grieved. Whenever something happens to me, I want to do something positive, and that's one thing I knew how to do.
Right. Yeah. You know what? And that's the truth, because, they love this business, and, you honor them when you do something like that. And Hey, Zane, did I tell you, I don't want to get off subject or anything, did I tell you who showed up at my Buddy Landell Memorial event without any notice?
No, who showed up?
Sam Houston. Flew in from Canada. He was in Canada. He flew in to come to the show.
We've had his sister Rockin' Robin on the show before. One of my favorite all-time guests.
Oh, she's incredible.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Yeah, I've known Sam and Jake for a while.
Yeah. Bad Blood, let me ask you a question, brother. What do you got coming up? I know you're going to face Will Huckabee and take away his NWA Continental title, which I'll be thrilled when that happens. But Will's a good friend of mine, lives here in North Carolina. I was on 2 shows with him last weekend, but still it'll be nice to get him humbled a little bit since he didn't show up tonight. But what do you got coming up that's exciting in the near future?
I don't know if you guys know who Black G's is. He's the former CZW World Heavyweight Champion, and he's a Jersey All-Pro Light Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
They just did a huge show to honor Fat Frank, who passed away. He was the booker out there. So in 2 weeks in California, January 6th, he and I have a chance at the Alpha Omega Wrestling Tag Team belts against PEP Ray, Team High Def, and the Banditos from the Santino Brothers School.
Wow.
In a 4-way TLC match.
Oh, wow.
That would be crazy.
I'm not going to toot my own horn, but like a Compton street fight, I haven't lost a TLC match, period. Now I got Black G's. I got Black G's on my side, and he feels the same way about it. So, I mean, we powerbombed the girl off the top rope the last time we were there. So we're looking at, raising all kind of hell and tearing that building apart on the tag team belts.
That sounds like fun, man. Sounds like a great show. Anybody that's in that area needs to get out and check that out, because I can guarantee you that 4-way tag match, TLC match, is going to be crazy, because I know a bunch of those guys involved in that match, and they're none of them tied too tight. Bad Blood. Yeah. I think you might not be either if you're going in there with them.
Oh no, man. I love that stuff. I'm the one, to be honest with you, me and G's are the one that challenged them to the TLC match.
Wow. Jeez. That's awesome. Hey, can you tell the fans how they can get a hold of you on your social media sites?
You can find me on Twitter, Bad Blood R2G. You can find me on Instagram, NWA Bad Blood. You can find me on Facebook, Bad Blood 187, Bad Blood 1313. Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere, man. You can find me on Periscope, Bad Blood NWA. I'm always doing some crazy stuff on Periscope. Yeah, I'm just pretty much everywhere, and I'm putting over everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'll be at Circle City Wrestling January 10th after a couple weeks in Germany. I got a big tour of Germany coming up for a company called DWA. And, hopefully, I'm not gonna be that guy, but I will say I will either have the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship on that tour, or I'll have the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship and the NWA Continental Wrestling Heavyweight title on that tour.
I was just about to say, Bad Blood, make sure you bring that Continental title with you to Circle City Wrestling in January, so I can take some pictures to send to Huck.
Bro, no worries. You know me, man. We're gonna be up here partying. So, man, let me ask you this, man. You got Rob Conway Part 2. Tell me, man, what else can you possibly do? I mean, I've seen you beat Rhino. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I've seen you beat people, man.
This is probably part 4, but we're just gonna. I tell you, bro. I said earlier in the show when we talked about it, and anybody listen, we are going to beat each other until we stop moving. One of us is going to have to stop moving for this thing to end. We're just gonna, go out there. It's been a war. That's not going to change. I don't know what kind of match we're in. The fans are going to pick the stipulation, and it really doesn't matter to me because it doesn't change my game plan. The game plan is to beat him up until he stops moving, and I'm pretty sure that that's his game plan as well. So we're just going to get at it, man, and see what happens.
I'll tell you right now, man, if it wasn't for being home with my daughter Thanksgiving, man, I will be there at NWA Circle City to watch that, man, to watch that and watch that crazy ladder match for those belts, man. Like when I saw that whole setup, my thought was, damn, I wish Cheese was here.
Well, that can be arranged at some point in time. We'll have to talk to Circle City Wrestling President Rob Kinkade, and maybe we can make that happen.
Hey, I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to put Rob Kinkade over. That man treated me better than he treated me like a WWE star. Okay. I had the best time in Indiana. I mean, I flew all night, red eye, got there. The man treated me like I was a star. You know, the fans there, amazing. Wrestling Eric Andrews for the national title. Quite honestly, he was just that good and got away with it. 2 weeks prior, Tim Storm was just that good. He got away with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, third time's the charm. And Will Huckabee, that belt, you know, shine it up real good. Lace it up, make it look pretty. Cause when I leave that venue, December 20th, Clash of the Titans, my bag's going to be 10 pounds heavier than it was when I walked in. That's a guarantee.
That's awesome,
do you have a home field advantage since it's taking place in Portland?
You know, I do have a home field advantage considering I am from LA.
All right.
But I do have a home field advantage. And I will tell you this. I run with the group. We call ourselves the Faction. The BCW heavyweight champion, Tommy Celsius. The soon-to-be NWA the NWA Pacific Northwest television champion, one of the Ozark winners, and my Russian bulldog, Grigor Petrov. Okay? I'm going to put it out there right now. The fans are all going to expect them to come out and do some shenanigans to help me win. No, this is a one-on-one, straight up, best of the best. Will is the best, and he's the best in his area. You know, the man has held that NWA Continental title for for almost, 14 months?
Something like that.
Yeah, but I've held the NWA Pacific Northwest title 312 days so far. I beat the record, which was 281. That was held by the grappler. I'm not gonna let Will stop me from being the best ever. I am the best champ of the modern era when it comes to the NWA Pacific Northwest title. And that Continental belt, let's just be honest. It's the Continental Heavyweight title. That means the continent of North America, right?
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that belt, travel this friggin' country, and defend it like it should be defended. You know, I know that belt's been in a lot of places, West Virginia, Georgia, Tennessee, Indiana. Well, I'm taking it to Canada. I'm going to take it to Mexico. I'm going to take it to Germany. I'm going to make that belt mean something.
Beautiful. You're listening to the Undisputed Wrestling Show at AngryMarks.com. It's about time to wrap it up. Zane, you want to wrap it up with our buddy Bad Blood? By the way, Bad Blood, I just sent Gregor a message and told him he better be listening to you.
I told him I'll put that boy over tonight.
Well, hey, Bad Blood, I did have a quick question for you. There's a certain referee out there at NWA Blue Collar that I'm friends with. I don't know if you're necessarily friends with him, but Sign Guy, he's out there. Is he going to be reffing the champion versus champion match?
I'll tell you this. Me and Sign Guy, we go back a long way. We go back a long time. And Sign Guy knows that you better call it down the line, because there have been times that I've put Sign Guy through walls. There have been times that I've hit him with chairs. There have been times where I have given him my finisher of the 211. There have been times that I want to bury him 10 feet deep. So he knows I ain't one to fuck with. So he knows that 1, 2, 3 better be legit.
Did you ever kick him out of a match because of something to do with a bruise?
Is that what he told you?
He did tell me that. You tell me the story real quick.
Look, I'm not going to go into any details, but I will say this. Sign Guy knows I ain't one to fuck with.
And he also told me when I got a chance to meet you here in Indy for NWA Circle City Wrestler, not to get too close because you might super kick me out of nowhere.
Well, you know, I'm just going to say this, man. Ronda Rousey got knocked out with a super kick. I'm just saying.
I would definitely get knocked out. Luckily, you were nice that night. You took a picture with me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, you know, you didn't piss me off.
Hey, can you go through your social medias again so our listeners can follow you and see if you do come away with the NWA Continental Championship on December 20th?
You know, I didn't think about it, but there's actually a page on Facebook, a fan page. It's called the Best on the Indies, Bad Blood. You can find that on Facebook. I post stuff there all the time. Instagram, you can find me at Bad Blood R2G. On Twitter, Bad Blood RTG. Our NWA Bad Blood on Instagram. You can find me on Snapchat too. I didn't add that, man. I totally forgot about that, but you can find me there at NWA Bad Blood too. I'm all over Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Instagram, Periscope, all NWA Bad Blood. You can find me anywhere. You can find me on YouTube too. You can find my videos on the NWA Bad Blood, Rated 2G. You can find me there too. Look out for me December 6th. Alpha Omega Wrestling in California, TLC match with Black G's. Look for me back at NWA Atlanta on December 12th. And you can also look for me December 20th, NWA Blue Collar Wrestling, North Portland Eagles Lodge, 7 p.m., 6:30 doors open, 7 p.m. bell time, Clash of the Titans, Bad Blood, Will Huckabee. 2 champs walk in, 2 titles on the line, 1 man leave, 2 belts. Somebody gonna leave 20 pounds heavier. And that somebody is me.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bad Blood, I've been Heroes and Legends heavyweight champion for about 1,100 days, and I'm really looking forward to watching the footage. Really looking forward to watching the footage of you and Huckabee get it on, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you again back in January. I want to thank you for being on the show and sharing your story with everybody, man, all of our listeners and us. It's been great.
Yeah, man, thank you guys for asking me on, and I will be giving you guys a blow-by-blow of the match via Periscope. So I will hit you guys up, give you guys the link so you can watch me and Huckabee go at it one-on-one.
December 16th, I believe, or it's either 15th or 16th, will be our 100th episode, but it'll also be the episode immediately before your match for us. So do you think maybe we can get a run-in from you so you can talk some smack to Will Huckabee over the internets?
I don't know, man. Is he going to show up?
I don't know. I think he was on assignment tonight. So
the last 6 months, he's been taking jabs at me, and I finally just said, hey, you know what? I told him, I said, let me handle these 2 guys first. Let me handle these important guys, and then I'll go ahead and I'll handle you. Well, I have my match with Tim Storm. I have my match with Eric Andrews. And don't get me wrong, Will Huckabee is a damn good wrestler. He is a fine competitor and a fine champion. But now it's time to put up or shut up. The Morning Star versus the franchise player. The best in the East versus the best on the Indies. Let's see who really is the best.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Bad Blood. We really appreciate you coming on.
Hey, man, thank you very much. You have a good night, guys.
You too.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Q. I don't know if we could have gotten a better show than we did tonight.
I think it was
great guests, some insightful commentary from you guys. Next week, we've got a huge show coming up. From Ring of Honor, BJ Whitmer is going to be on, from USWA and kind of has a little controversial history going to him. Jamie Dundee, otherwise known as JC Ice. And then we've got the African Savage Tanu will be on next week.